Welcome back. We're going to continue our journey. Please do support the official author by buying his book. And right now we are on page 5. Murder and mayhem. The locked room. The first locked room mystery was Poe's Murder in the Rue Morgue. The first locked room novel seemed to have been John Ratcliffe's Nino Sahib. This inspired a real murder. In 1881, the wife and 5 children of a Berlin carter named Fritz Conrad were found hanging from hooks in a locked room. It looked as if Frau Conrad, depressed by poverty, had killed her children and committed suicide. Police Commissioner Holman was suspicious when he found that Conrad was infatuated with a young girl student. He searched his apartment for love letters. He found none, but came upon a copy of Nino Sahib and read Ratcliffe's account of a perfect murder, in which the killer drilled a tiny hole in the door, passed a thread through it, and used this to draw the bolt after the murder. He then sealed up the hole with wax. Holman examined Conrad's door and found a similar hole filled in with sealing wax, to which threads of horsehair still adhered. Confronted with this evidence, Conrad confessed to murdering his wife and children and was sentenced to death. Edible toilet paper. In order to pass domestic sanitary regulations, British toilet paper has to be edible. Terrible. Don't worry, be happy. Page 6. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One is through a nothing is a miracle. The other is through everything is. I believe in the latter. Albert Einstein, 1879 to 1955. Tons of waste. The average amount of feces defecated by a human during a 70-year lifespan is 2.6 tons. That's a lot of That's a lot of shnikes. That's a lot of mud pies, perhaps, as it might be called. Miles of toilet paper. During the course of your lifetime, you will use about 15.5 miles of toilet paper, or about 18.5 miles if you're a woman and you're using it to remove your makeup. Dang, that's a lot. That's a lot of TP. The royal bowels. To help keep pace with the royal bowels of Louis XIV, which were regularly purged with suppositories from infancy, he had more than 400 enemas and purges in the last year of his life. The Palace of Versailles had 264 toilets. They were mostly painted black to signify courtly distress. Oh. Oof. That just sounds bad. Okay. Hero, sharing hardships. The final pursuit of Darius following the capture by the Bactrian leader, Bessus, took place across the hot, dry, and mountainous landscape of what is now northern Afghanistan and Pakistan. At one point, his men had covered nearly 400 miles in 11 days, and many were on the verge of collapse from thirst. Alexander himself was almost fainting under the heat of midday sun when they came upon a party of tribesmen bearing water to their camp. They saw the state Alexander was in and quickly filled the helmet with water and gave it to him. But when the king looked up and saw the haggard faces of his men craning their necks for a sight of the water, he handed it back without drinking a drop. He thanked the men who had offered it, but said, "If I am the only one to drink, the rest will lose heart." No sooner had his troops witnessed this act of self-denial for their sakes, that they shouted for him to lead them on wherever he would, for they would never feel hungry or thirst or any of the weaknesses of which mortal men were subject to so long as they had such a king. Nothing washes whiter than we. Apart from making wine out of it, there are very few uses that the human bodily waste hasn't been put to by your forebears. Stale urine and excrement both contain ammonia, which are commonly used for bathing people and washing clothing and linen right up to World War II. The urine used on wash day went by different names according to the locality. In Lancashire, it was called lant, and every yard had a communal lant pot for collecting it in. In Yorkshire, it was called Wheaton or Old Waish. Poor people bathed themselves in urine, and more often than not, it wasn't even their own. Streets and groups of houses in the 1840s frequently collected their urine in a common barrel. The custom continued in poor working class areas for at least another 50 years. Cakes of animal excrement added to cold water also had a cleansing effect and were used instead of or as an addition to urine. Welsh peasants, for example, regularly used pig manure as a popular alternative to soap. Women became so immune to the stench of stale urine and shit on wash days that when soap became popular, they often complained that the suds made them nauseous. Dung never became quite as popular as stale urine, however, because because it had so many other uses as a fertilizer, as a fuel, or as a building material. For centuries, most poor people used cow or horse dung as fuel. Though the smell was incredibly offensive, it was free, easy to collect, simple to burn, and gave out a great deal of heat. When coal became more easily available in the late 18th and early 19th century, dung fuel became less common. But the practice continued in Cornwall, in the Aran Islands off the west coast of Ireland. It was still the main source of heat in the 1930s. Okay. Potty wisdom, Bulgaria. Dry pants catch no fish. Yeah, that's a thing. Don't ask me. The throne. Louis XIV had a habit of granting audiences to people while he was sitting on his toilet. Visitors, including English Ambassador Lord Portland, even regarded it as a special honor to be received by the Sun King in this manner. Louis announced his betrothal to his second wife, Mimi de Maintenon, whilst at stool. Wow. Elk dropping earrings. In some parts of the world, animal manure is sculpted into fashion jewelry. Visitors of the 1994 Olympics in Norway were sold souvenir elk droppings at €7 a pair. They were dried, cooked in microwave ovens, painted with lacquer, and worn as earrings. Lovely. Well, that's it for this video. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and once again, support the official author by buying this book from Carl Shaw if you enjoy what I'm reading, because there's some funny stuff in here. So, once again, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.